Well, what you're just talking about leads right into what I want to ask you. About 10 months ago, I was thinking, I want more prosperity. I want more abundance. My boss calls me into his office and says, hey, we have an opportunity for you. It's a 10% increase in your salary. I work part-time because I'm involved in creative projects on the other side. But it involves increasing your time by 50%. So from 20 hours, I went to 30 hours a week. I said, okay, but I would like to work 3 days a week, 10 hours a day so I'd have more time to myself. And he said, fine. So, and I kind of knew at the beginning that the job they were asking me to handle, a lot more responsibility, would take, actually they needed a salary person to work 60 or 70 hours a week to do this. But I thought, wow, well, it's prosperous. I'm going to, have more money. So during that whole time, I worked really hard and tried to get done, ended up getting like to 35, 36 hours a week. And then right now it's to a point where that's not working. And so I realized that when I looked at myself, I saw, and you were just saying your dominant thought plays out in anything, and I'm thinking prosperity, that it was that Protestant work ethic I've had and drilled into me ever since I was a child. And so I thought, well, for more prosperity, I need to work harder, I need to struggle, I need to do this. I want to change that.
So it's logical that would be the crack of least resistance through which your abundance would come. Now let's talk about this just for a moment, and then we'll move on to where you want to be. But we really want to explain this in a way that you can hear it clearly. So when you're asking for something from the place of not having it, the vibration of not having it is the dominant vibration. So you launch this desire, and through the crack of least resistance, the desire is answered. When you think about how you were raised and what vibrations were taught to you, what thoughts were taught to you, then those are within you whether you are consciously aware that they are within you or not. So then when someone offers you an opportunity, that opportunity is offered because that's the vibration that is allowing it. In other words, there are other opportunities that the universe is lining up for you that you are not quite yet a vibrational match to. That's why we say through the crack of least resistance, your life can unfold as wonderfully as any of you are now able vibrationally to allow it to be. Are you hearing this? And what you're saying is, I am only able to allow the wonderfulness of my life to come to me to the degree to which I've practiced it through my upbringing. And my upbringing said, have to work hard in order to allow it. So as long as I'm working hard, then I can allow it. It's all a vibrational match. And now you say, well, I want to change that. And so what we want you to hear is that the changing it is not going back and reworking those work ethics. The changing it is just 30 seconds at a time being in a place where you feel good. Being in a place where you feel good. Being in a place where you feel good. In other words, you don't have to go back and address those issues. Oh, this is so exciting as you're beginning to get the sense of this. As you moved through life experience without knowing it, you acclimated to the pool of vibration that was going on around you. So you saw someone working hard and being praised for it. Or you saw someone working hard and feeling proud about it. Or you worked hard and you were praised for it. Or others didn't work hard and were criticized for it. So little by little, one creative workshop at a time, one visualization at a time, one virtual reality at a time, although you didn't know that's what was happening. In other words, if you were 3 and the train ran over your toe, you would have a special relationship with trains today. In other words, it's something that happened all at once. But that's usually not how your vibrations become dominant within you. They usually become dominant within you one conversation at a time, one experience at a time, one seeing a friend have an experience at a time. And so what we are suggesting to you is that while you've been picking up by osmosis and not by deliberate intent, your bank of dominant vibrations, what we are suggesting is in 30-second virtual realities, you can shift what is dominant within your vibration in a very short period of time. So what took 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years to equal your basis of belief? You hear that? A basis of belief is just my bank of vibrations. It's just the vibrations I've learned. It's just the way I've learned to feel about things. The way I feel about things. The way I feel about things. So how do you feel about things? Do you feel deserving or do you feel undeserving? Do you feel eager or do you feel oppressed? Do you feel inspired or do you feel motivated? They're not the same. Inspired is coming from within. Motivated is somebody prodding you from behind. Do you feel exhilarated or do you feel tired? Do you feel worthy or do you feel unworthy? Do you feel, this is good, feeling a lot of response from you all. Stay with us just for a moment. This can be of value. So we're talking about how meaning you, how my life has touched me as I've been moving through. We're talking about what you picked up at home, at school, in church, in the community, at work, that all now equals the sum total of my vibrational point of being. What's my vibrational basis? How do I feel? When I think about world travel, do I feel eager or afraid? When I think about getting on an airplane, do I feel eager or afraid? When I think about what's happening with Pakistan and India, do I feel like it's a non-issue or is it an issue? Do I feel enlivened or frightened? When I think about the economy, do I feel optimistic or pessimistic? What you've come to is within you. It's within you. And everything that's playing out in your experience is playing out because of what you've come to. As we said as we began here today, what you've come to in many cases serves you. Esther, who is very good at receiving our blocks of thought and finding physical word equivalent, is catching herself translating other blocks of thought. In other words, she's become a sort of psychic fiend. And she'll catch a glimpse of something as she's watched a piece on television that's activated in her vibration. And she can feel when they're speaking what they believe to be true and when they're speaking something that they know is not true. In other words, she can feel the vibration of it. So the other day she said to us, after hearing a very clear pronouncement across the television, she said, "Abraham, that's just not true, and they know it." And we said to her, "Which thought serves you best, Esther? Giving them the benefit of the doubt, or insisting that they tell the truth when they're not willing to do it?" And Esther could feel the difference in her vibration. Forever, physical humans are saying, "Give me the truth, give me the truth." And we say, there are all kinds of truths. Choose the truths that serve you. Now, there are a lot of people that would feel great discomfort with that. But the thing that we want you to hear about it is, there is a truth of cancer and there is a truth of wellness. Which truth serves you? You can activate either of them within you and make it your truth. Truths are created. They aren't static. They aren't conditions that exist that then it is your obligation to identify and catalog. You are the creator of your truths, and what you are living is your truth, you see. So as you look out and you see government conspiracy and you feel how uncomfortable it makes you feel, our only question is, how does that serve you? Does that serve you in a way that allows you to connect with source energy? And then you say, "But shouldn't we know the truth?" And we say, you should create the truth. You get to choose. So, is it appropriate to work hard? Certainly it is. Is it appropriate to thrive without working hard? Certainly it is. You have to decide which you want to do. If you feel uncomfortable by thriving and not working hard, then you better work hard in order to bring yourself into alignment. You see, there's no right or wrong in it, but it is necessary that you be in alignment.
First, I wanted to express my gratitude to you, Abraham. I've been familiar with your work only about 5 or 6 months, but it seems like it was the instruction book to my life. It was like the book that came with the model that was me. I realized that I did most of my life everything that you speak of sort of naturally, and then it seemed about 6 or 7 years ago, I began to lose it. I began to get off track because I didn't, as you say, I didn't know the rules of the game. But recently, in the last year or so, I've had an awakening. And I like to walk a lot. I've had a number of moments where I've just had ecstasies, or what do you even call them. And I want to ask you a million things, but is it possible, can you look at me and say, you need to work on this, or you need to do that, or you're getting a little off here? I've been trying to think what would be the best question to ask that would use everybody's time most efficiently.
Your life experience is what helps you to understand everything that we are giving. In other words don't teach at all. It's life experience. But when understanding of words meshes with what you've been living and you make that connection, that is powerful understanding. And so that's what we provide for you, and that's what you provide for others. In other words, you cannot answer a question that has not been asked. But when a question has been asked and a person is in a place of readiness, real readiness for the answer, then it always comes. So what we like to say about this work that we are all involved in together here is that it is an expanding dialogue where physical beings can come more into alignment with their awareness of how things work. In other words, the first step in a joyful life is understanding that you get to create the joyful life. And then the specifics of what you create don't really matter very much. Someone the other day was talking to us about, how do I know whether I'm on the path? And we said, you feel good. And she said, yes, but a lot of things make me feel good. And which of them is the right path? And we said, they're all the right path. In other words, there's no wrong path as you have this variety of things that make you feel good. And so as we feel you here, we can feel a clarity about you. But that does not mean that we cannot feel you still asking for things that are at this point unfulfilled. And the predominant thing that we're wanting to give to you here is that we are appreciating your now new understanding. And we think this is the piece that's just beginning to click into place for you in a powerful way. That there will be no ending to the desires that will unfold for you, and no ending to the fun you will have in the aligning up with those. Now, the reason we're giving this little bit of basis before we answer your very wonderful and specific question is, we want you to be so comfortable in a moment of not knowing exactly what to do next, because you know the knowledge about what to do next will come. In other words, when you say, can you look at me and can you see what vibrations are out of whack, and can you guide me to get them into whack? What we want to say to you is, so what if they're out of whack? You know what to do. You always know what to do. You will never be in a place where we will just say, you're all lined up. Everything that you want, everything that's been percolating within you, you are a perfect vibrational match to, so there's nothing more for you to do. That would be like saying to the wire walker, you've struck your balance. We don't have to talk about this ever again. When you know he needs to keep talking about it. In other words, he needs to keep addressing his balance, you see. And so you will always be addressing your balance. We just want the addressing of the balance to be so natural and so fun that you don't even care when you're out of balance. We want Jerry to leave the oil cap off the motor coach, and we want them to make a big mess, and we want them to have fun with it, because we want them to know that they are never so far out of balance that they can't get back into balance. In other words, we want being in balance not to feel like a tentative or risky or even important thing. We want it to feel like a natural thing, an inevitable thing. We want you to be so free and so easy with your knowledge of your well-being that you are willing to take risks, meaning you are willing to reach for adventure, meaning you are willing to look for the fun stuff, meaning you're really ready to go for the big stuff. No tentativeness. Our answer to you is, we don't want to tell you anything specific about your vibration because we've already figured out that you know what to do. And so a snapshot of where you are at any point in time, if we wanted to take a snapshot, we say you're doing extremely well. We would say there are things that you want that are still in the offing. There are things you don't even know you want that are immediately unfolding before you. There are things that you've been asking for that source energy is aware of that are beginning to percolate within you that are almost giving you a feeling of restlessness and uneasiness. All of that is wonderful.
Well, to get that confirmation is great. And thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.